Yes, last week I told us that I was going to, or we were going to start conditional statement that's making decisions in Python. That is the use of if, elif, and else statements. But I figured out that I mixed I mixed one part of the previous lessons, something that maybe complex numbers I needed to have done in the previous lessons, but I mixed it. So what's going to happen now is fine. We're going to be starting a decision making topic, which is if, elif, and else statement today. We are going to be starting it, but I want to combine complex numbers. I mean, with it, so that for us not to lose track of what should have been done in previously. I didn't know I omitted it. So now we are going to be starting off with complex numbers. Then, as the moment I finish, we just move straight to um, conditional statement. So, if you can remember from the definition I gave, I said a complex number is the combination of real and imaginary components. That is where both are represented by what floating point data type. You understand? So the imaginary component of the complex number is a multiple of the square root of minus one and is denoted by j. But for those of you that are coming from mathematics background, in uh, in mathematics, I think under complex variables, it's normally been denoted by, or it's usually denoted by I. But of course, this is programming. So in Python, it's denoted by J. But I'm going to explain what it is. I said a complex number is the combination of real and imaginary part. What are we saying in practical? Let's say we have we have something like this. Say A plus say BJ. Sorry, A plus BJ equals, say, let's just ignore equals, let's say A plus BJ. You understand? A plus what? BJ. Now, what this mean in practical is, you see this side is the what? Imaginary. I mean, is the real part. Sorry, the real part. Why this side is the imaginary part. I will tell you why it is called imaginary part. Now, by real, of course, you know what a real number is. A real number is a number, a positive. Real numbers are positive numbers, or positive or negative numbers. You understand? It could be any number, you understand. While the of course the imaginary number, which is the b is the imaginary because it's what, it's like a coefficient of j. You understand? Coefficient is anything beside any value beside a variable, or any value beside anything that is not of the same value type with that value. So in this case, of course, let's assume this is a variable. It's not, anyways, it's an imaginary number. So this is called coefficient. Now, this coefficient, this b, is called the imaginary part, while this a is called the what? The real part. Let's say we have something like this. Say 3 times 2j. You understand? This 2 is the imaginary, while this 3 is the real. Now, this j, it has a value. J equals, in programming, it equals to square root of what? Minus 1. You understand? And by 2j, hold on a bit. And by 2j, it means, and by 2j, it means 2 times square root of minus 1. So we are invariably saying 2j, because this one is the same thing as what? Minus square root of minus 1. You understand? So if you have 1j, you don't need to write 1, it's j. Let's say we have something like this. Let's say we have something like this. Let's say we have something like this. 1, no, 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 3 plus 1j. You don't need to write 1j. Of course, it is redundant. You understand? Something that is very redundant. You don't need to write 1j. You can just write j. You understand? So you are invariably saying 3 plus square root of what? Minus 1. That is what it means. You understand? So let's say we have something like this, for example. Let's say we have something like this. Excuse me. Let's say we have something like this. Um, let's say we have something like this. Excuse me. Let's say we have something like this. Sorry. Let's say we have something like I want to write a code block. Excuse me. Let's say we have something like 3 say 3 plus um 1.2 j. This is an example of complex variable. So like from the definition I gave earlier, so complex variable is, let's say complex variable is what? Say, let me zoom out so that you can see. Complex variable is what? Complex variable is what? Is what? Um, let me just write it mathematically. Equals complex variable equals, hold on. Complex variable equals what? Real plus what? Imaginary. Where the imaginary is what? Anything placed beside what? J. And J equals square root of what? Minus 1. So if you want a complex variable, let's say we want to say complex variable, complex variable. Let's make it a variable. Complex var equals say 3 plus 1.2j. You know, I told you if you put 1, you don't need to put j. So 3 is the real part and 1.2 is the imaginary part. Don't get confused. You can as well say 3 plus 3j. So it doesn't matter if the imaginary part is float or what, or integer. It doesn't matter. It is still what? Imaginary. It is still what? Imaginary. So let's have a situation where we have, let's say we have something like this. Let's say we have a equals, let me give an example on how to use it. A equals what? 3.0. And of course, the b equals, say, no, sorry. Let's say a equals 3.0 plus 1.2, 1.2j. You understand? That is a variable carrying what? An imaginary, a complex number. A variable A, what? Containing what? A complex number. Let's now say B equals, say, minus 2.0 plus minus 2.0, or say minus 9.0j. So we have something like this, minus 9.0j. So we want to add the two complex variable. So let's now say we want it to print something like, say, um, the let's say print. We want it to print. Let's do something creative here. Let's say we want it to print the two the two. Oh, let me write it too. The two uh, complex numbers are the two complex numbers are, say, we can say The two complex numbers are, let me put let me put this. I can now put the comma because I want to pass in a variable. You understand? So are A, and I put this, and and say comma B. I hope you understand what I'm doing here. Now, I want it to tell me this. I want this code to print these two complex numbers. So I now say the two complex numbers are, you understand? So I give a space so that it won't um, put the it won't put the content of this and clutch it together, or make it senseless. You understand? So it will make it readable, because if I don't put a space here, it won't make it readable. It will all of them will be what, uh concatenated together. You understand? And I created a comma and I passed a variable. Look at my variable is not having a code. Reason being that it's a variable, it's containing content. You understand? You get what I'm saying? And comma, and this variable again, this comma is to create is just to be able to combine this string with what? With the value of, or the content of the variable. If not, it may not be readable. You understand? So this comma is just like, in a situation whereby you can use comma sometimes if you want to concatenate, if you want to combine a variable, and you understand. But in some cases, in fact, most cases, is either you use comma or you use string formatting. I mean, I'm sorry, is either you use comma, or you use say Mm, F string. There's one thing called F string. I'm going to be showing you what F string is later in the subsequent lesson. So this will now bring this, and this will now bring this if you print it. So let's continue with our code. So let's now say I want to add the two complex variable. I want to do operations, maybe addition operations on the two complex variable. And I'll say C equals, say, um, A plus B. So what it will do is it will add real plus real, imaginary plus imaginary. You understand? So it will add plus 1.2 minus 9.0 plus 3.0 minus 2.0, because of course mathematically it is real for real, imaginary for imaginary. And now create C will now be what? Another complex variable, because C is now carrying or containing um, the variable that contains complex variable, that is another data type. Then B is a variable that is also containing. So by adding them together and you know putting them in another container, it means C will now have the addition of A and B. That is the addition of the content of A and B. You understand? So let's now print it out. Let's print, say, print print, say, we can say something like the addition of the two complex number is, let me say, the addition of the two complex numbers of the two complex numbers is, now say, is, give a space, sorry, give a space, and put a comma, and now pass the variable as well. Say C is the variable. You understand? So pass the variable. You get what I'm saying? So let's say, okay, okay, that is that. Let me just quickly do an evaluation, right? So yeah, if yeah, before this code, let me just mathematically do it. In mathematics, let me copy this code because we are going to run it on VS Code. I want to run this code on VS Code. So Control C. So mathematically, mathematically, mathematically to evaluate this, it is what? 3.0, you understand, plus what? 1.2j, eh? Minus 2.0 minus what? 9.0j. She understand? So mathematically, you will now say something like say 3.0 minus 2, that is 1. 1.2 minus what, 9.0, that will be around minus 9.0, that is will be around 7.2. So it will now be what? Minus. So it will be what? 1 minus 7.2. So that is what that is what Python will do for us when we run it on the VS Code. So let's just take it to VS Code and see what it will do in practical. Let me zoom this a little bit, so yeah, so that you can see as clearly as. So let me collab this tree. Print. Okay, so why is it showing? So let me run it. Okay, let me run it. Mm, fi- okay, sorry. It's maybe because I'm using a single quote here. I mean, oh, sorry, error. It's not because of the single quote. I didn't put a comma here. Yes, I think it's clear now. So let's run it. So by running it, you will see that the two complex number, that is the first print statement. This is it. He said the two complex numbers are what? This and this. That is the first print statement. Let me bring this down a little bit. Sorry. So if you see, that is the first print statement here. So the I said the what, the two complex numbers are what, A and what, B, which is this and this. So you will see that it's bringing them out. He even put them in parentheses so as for it to be clear. So the two complex numbers are what, this and this. Then the addition of the two complex number is what, this minus 7.8 J, and that was what we did in the when we simplified it, uh, when we simplified it manually, using our mathematical background or knowledge. So that is that on complex number. So it's not something uh, that is that hard. No, no, it's not something that is that hard. So this is of course, you can build on this anyways. You can build on this, but I'm not going to give exercises on this. But you can always build on this. So it's just for me to show you um, how it's been done in practical, so as for us not to skip that aspect of uh, topic or content or module. So that is that. That being said, so we're gonna be moving to our conditions. So making decisions using if, elif, and what, else statement. So the statement that helps in making decision and controlling what flow of a program is this. When you're trying to control a flow of program, you make use of what, if, elif, and what else statement. Now, that's what it does. It helps us to make better decisions. So the if else statement that is the if, elif, and else statement decides whether a block of statements to execute on the basis of logical expression is included. A block of statement is attached with say if as well as with else. So when the logical expression is evaluated, either the if or the else block statement is executed. Let me see if I can reiterate and that is recap on what I said, and write it out. What I'm trying to say is this. I said, let me zoom out a bit. So what I was trying to say is this, that you see this, the if, um, the if else, the if elif else um, statement statement uh, decides it decides which block of statements which um, block of statements. I'm writing this out. It's for you to take note. It's for you to be able to take note and write it down, and you know co- and always revisit it later. So decide which block of statement to execute. So execute. I think I did a word wrap statement. Let me see if I did a word wrap. Mm, view. Let me do a word wrap. Yeah. Which block of statement to execute? Yes, to execute to execute. And why I did that, if you just saw what I did, a word wrap is for me to be able to, for VS Code to dictate that I'm getting to the extreme of the other of here. So it needs to what automatically bring me down to a new line so that my content can be, what I'm writing will be what readable. So on the basics of, to execute, on the basics of on the basis of say the logical expression included, on the basis of on the basis of the logical expression of the basis of the logical expressions included. um Not, let me not put this included. So, and of course a block of statement a block of statement is attached with say is attached with if as well as what else, if and as well as what else. You understand? And when the logical expression and when the logical expression and when the logical expression is evaluated, and when the logical expression is evaluated, either the if either the if or the else block is what, or the else block is what executed. Now, by reading this line, you understand, you see that they are trying to tell us that when you create when you're trying to create a program, or you're writing a code, you tell Python, okay, which block of code should be executed should this happen. Else means if that didn't happen, then do this. If means condition that you should do this. She understand when this happens, when so thing happens. But if that thing didn't happen, then do this. That is what that is just the typical meaning of what this statement is saying. You understand? But we're gonna be trying to create some kind of comparison. Remember the comparison operator, I don't know if you can remember, if you can go back in lecture and see the comparison operator we used, you understand, in our previous classes, where we say, let me go back to where we say something like where we say something like, hold on please, where we say something like hold on, I'm trying to, sorry. Okay. Okay, let me write it out on VS Code. Um, need to put a pen. Okay, sorry. So let me try to clean this off. So when we say something like when we say something like this, this simply means, hey, sorry, let me, so that this means less than, it means a what? A less than sign. And of course, this means greater than sign. Then this means in Python, and of course in most other languages, this means what? Less than or equal to sign. And of course this means greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and of course this means um equal to, equal to, you understand. Now this means not equal to, not equal to. Now I want you to know that, let me go back to VS Code. I want you to know that this this say a equals to 3, is not the same as say, why is it showing me this thing? A equals 3 and A equals 3 is two different things. You understand? The reason being that this eh, is assignment. You understand? This is what? Assignment. When you are storing a data type inside a variable, and this means equality. That is normal. The normal equal to, say, 1 plus 1 equals to 2. She understand? 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So this one is basically an assignment, and what this one is what? Basically equality. Shey understand? When you just say equals to 3, you are assigning a variable, but this double equals to in Python means what? Equality. So there are two what? Different meaning. So I just want you to get that straight. So though by the time we proceed, you will be getting an idea of what it is. So let me quickly write how a logical statement is, in how you write a logical statement. The syntax is, let me say, syntax, syntax, syntax for logical statement. You understand? So we can say something like, let me write a syntax there. Let me say, when you write your if block, when you say if, you understand? Then after writing if, what is next is what? Your logical expression. Let me say your logical what? Expression. By logical expression, I mean the condition. You understand? So logical expression. Your logical expression. Then after the logical expression, you write what? Your statement. You write what? Your statement. After your logical expression, you write what? Your statement. And of course, if you are writing your statement, it will be indented. You need to what? Indent it. You know what indentation means. So it will be indented. So you now say statement, because I indented it, so I need to, let's now say statement. Sure, understand. What statement do you want to what give to that logical expression? You understand? And if the statement is not met, if the condition is not being met, then you use what? Else. If this condition is not met, So you understand? That is when the use of what else is needed. Then, of course, statement of else. Let me, yeah, of course, you now write what statement of what else. You understand? That is just the syntax. You understand? But we're gonna be using that in example. So if the logical expression equates to true, you understand? Then the if statement is what executed. Otherwise, the else statement is what executed. So for the condition of if block to be executed, the statement within the if block to be executed, the condition must be that this has to be true. Then if it is not true, this has to be what executed. You understand? This condition must be true, else this condition will be printed. You understand? So that is how it is. So let's see how this is working in practical. Let's say we have let me run a code and say we have, let me see if I can use the teaching aid so that it will be the visual. We Let me clean this rubbish off. Let me erase this. Let me erase this. Why is it coming back? So let me erase this so that uh, we can see what I'm explaining in. I don't know why it's coming back. Okay, let me just use my VS Code. So I hope it is big enough. Okay, it's good like this. So let's say we have m equals, or let me say, let me create a grade as a variable. So we're trying to check if a particular grade is being met. So let's say, we want to use an input function here. So you understand, so that we can give you can give users the opportunity to what enter their information. So in this case, remember that input function is by default strings. The value in input function is by default in string. You understand? They are all Any value you put in input function is comes in string by default. So because of that, so we need to uh, store the input function inside another method, the integer method. You understand? We have to, wrap it inside what integer method, so as for it to what cap, so as for it to be typecasted, from integer to what int, because we're going to be putting integer value. So let's say int. You understand? So by int, we can say input function, create another input function. You understand? We create another what input function. We now say something like, say, um enter grades. Say enter grades. Enter grades. You understand? Enter grades. You understand? Say something like enter grades. Now let's now put our conditional statement, whether these grades will be distinction, upper credit, lower credit, you understand, pass or what have you. So I'm trying to use a real I'm kind of trying to picture a real use case, you understand, where you can apply it. Now we can start building, after we've done this uh if and elif statement and we've done for loop, we can quickly start building. We can start with building, say something, maybe tip calculator, love calculator. We can start with building, say, we'll be building, say, we'll be trying to imitate the algorithm used to build something like Niger bet and all those things, all those bet stuff. So we're gonna be building a kind of bet app, though it is not going to be, the real bets with the back end, the algorithms they use. using if, elif, and of course looping through and all stuff. So we're gonna be going step by step. So let's continue with our condition. So now let's create the condition. If if uh okay, let me put it in parentheses. If m, you understand, you can either put it in parentheses or you can decide not to. Let's not put it so that it will not look like JavaScript to you. So let's say if m, say greater than equals to 60. You understand? If n is greater than what? Equals to 60. Let's put it so that so if m is greater than equals to 60, you understand? Oh, sorry, I didn't have to use. Let's say grade. Let me remove this bracket. You can put it, me, I like to do something very fast. If grade is greater than equals to say 60, you understand? If grade is greater than or equals to 60, you can now say print print say uh you can what's this? We can say, what is this thing? We can say print first division or first class, for example. You can say first division or first class or distinction. Shall understand? Now we have given a condition that if the grade is greater than or equals to 60, for example. Now by greater than equals to is that it means by using this greater than or equals to, it means anything less than 60, eh? Anything less than 60, eh? It will say it will print the other way around. But anything equals to, that is from 60 upward, is what? First division. So if you now say else, let's print our else statement. Let's now say else. Let's say else. We can say print, what will be in our else statement? Print, we can say print, say second division. You understand? You can say what? Print what? Second division. Now, you can see what I did here. This grade is the variable. Now, I now tell user to what? Enter the grade. And of course, after entering the grade, it will what? Yeah, it will. Please let me go back to this thing. I don't like as VS Code is suggest. I'll go and remove this thing so that it will stop giving me that nonsense. Let me do oh, another blank. Okay, it's because I used undo. So let me bring it back. So let me clean this so that let me copy this grade here so that I can explain better because that thing is giving me problem. Okay, back to what we were saying. You see, let me zoom a bit. Let me zoom a bit. Yes, I think it should be clearer now. You see, this grade is the variable that is that is going to contain whatsoever value a user imputed. You understand? And of course, we now put this impute function inside this int method. The reason being that the value has to be in integer, and any value entered inside input function is by default a string. Even if you write number, it will turn into string. You understand? By mean the number will be regarded as string. You know, if you write 60, if you write 10 and put a quote on it, it will, she understand, it will become what? A string. So the value inside input function becomes a string. Any value entered inside input function is a string. So because we want an integer, so we have to store this whole input function inside integer in order to do what? To typecast it to what? Integer. So we now say the grade that has been entered, if it is greater than or equals to 60, then of course print on the console first division. Sure understand. But if this grade, if it is not, if this condition is not met, then print second division. So let's see what it will print on the console. That is what it means here. Don't forget. And look, after if statement, um I put a colon. You understand? And indent. It is important. After this colon, you must indent. By indentation, it means this statement here is inside this block of code. That is inside this block of condition. You understand? Inside this block of if it's inside this if block. So Python will what? Automatically execute this code if your condition, or if the user meets what? The condition given to grade. Shey you understand? Now if the user doesn't meet, Python will jump here and what? Print this what? Else block. It will now print what? This else block. So let's see how what Python will give to us if we run the code. Let's say we run the code, and of course it's asking for grades here in the console. So we now say, let's say 54. 54 is less than uh 54 is less than 60. So it will tell us what? Uh it will tell us what? Uh where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Invalid literal for grades. Why is it? Why is, let me run it. Yes, yes. We close it. Yes. Then we run it. Yes, yes. There is nothing wrong with it. Let me run again. It's asking for grades. 54. Second division. I think that is a VS Code error. So second division, because it's what? Less than 60. Now let's run it again and put 60. Let's run it again and put 60. 60. First division. You understand? Because it's meeting our condition. Let's now print it again and put greater than 60, because we say the grade must be equals to 60 or what? Greater than 60. So we have met the condition of greater than 60. I mean equals to 60. Let's now see greater than 60. Let's say, of course, any number greater than 60. Let me use 70, or let me even use 61 because it's even closer to, so it will say first division. But there's a fault here. You and I know literally that 50, if I put, the fault here is that there's a fault, the code is correct, but there is an error here. Definitely you are saying that if somebody scores say 0, let me put 0 here. If somebody scores 0, it will write second division. You get, it will write what? Second division. So can 0 be a second division? No. You understand? That is upper credit in polytechnic in Nigeria or in other African country. You understand? So it is not done. You understand? Even 0 is not even equal to pass. It's express fail. So now how do we check that condition to meet with what? Um, to meet with okay, checking if the particular grade is less than, or she understand, less than a specified number. So we need to what? Indicate, okay, we want this to not be say if within this range to this range, within so range to this range. You understand? And that is where we come with what? Nested if. Nested if. We can nest if, we can what? uh we can nest our if, we can nest uh, we can nest our if inside if, that is putting some if statement under if. We can as well put if statement under else. We can put another if and else under else. So we're going to be showing that in real in our next class, in our next lesson. So please, some other lessons we posted today, please don't binge on those lessons. You know, always watch it one after the other, one after the other. Don't binge on any lesson, any tutorial. Let it be what? Sequence by what? Sequence. Thank you very much for sticking around. And of course, God bless. So if you have any question, if there's any question, please write to me on Discord. If you are confused at any point, write me in Discord. Speak to me on Telegram, and of course on WhatsApp, and let me know what is confusing you. And of course, if you enjoy this lecture, please write, uh, like this video, write it in our comment section. How you've enjoyed it. You can also share if you feel like, if you feel generous, you can share. But always, acknowledge us on Discord. I mean, on Discord, for personally on Discord and Telegram. And of course, you can always leave positive comments in the comment section, and of course, like um, our videos. Thank you very much, and God bless you.